Okay, today we are going to discuss the file handling. When we are discussing file handling, we are going to divide all the files storage locations into two areas. The first one is the internal storage and the second one is the external storage. Internal storage, when you say internal storage, it belongs to the application folder. It belongs to the application folder. See, when we are creating any application, you should be observing this particular name, package name, com dot example dot, right? So if you go to your mobiles and open the Android folder, okay, in that you should find this particular folder. If you go a little deep into that particular folder, you should find this particular folder, this kind of folder for each and every app. Okay, whatever space that is there in this particular folder will be the internal space. Okay, whatever space that is outside this particular folder will be the outside space, because this is the package. Okay, and in the package, in that particular whatever class that is there can access files that are there within that particular folder only. Okay, files of folders within that particular folder only. So that particular location is called as the internal space for that particular app. Any location outside that particular folder, okay, is what is called as an external space. Any location, okay, it may be on an SD card or it may be on the mobile. Where it is irrespective. It is outside that particular folder. Okay, so it is basically external space. Okay, there are we have shared preferences persistence lo మనం డీల్ చేసాం కదమ్మా. In shared preferences we have seen saving data into these particular internal space. Okay, we have seen data storing data in the key value pairs by using shared preferences or Jetpack data store. Okay, using any of these two, we have seen storing a simple text file, XML files, simple XML files into this internal storage. Yes or no? Okay, we will drill down a little more deep as to how to save different kinds of files, okay, into these particular locations and retrieve data. Not only just a simple XML files, we can store any kind of data. For example, మీరు యాప్ స్పెసిఫిక్ డేటాను మీరు స్టోర్ చేయదలుచుకున్నారు, which should be local to the app only. It should be accessible to the app only. అప్పుడు మీరు ఎక్కడ సేవ్ చేస్తారు? దాన్ని తీసుకెళ్ళి ఇంటర్నల్ స్పేస్ స్టోరేజ్లో సేవ్ చేస్తారు. ఓకే, యూ విల్ బి సేవింగ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ ది ఇంటర్నల్ స్టోరేజ్. అండ్ ఇన్ ద ఇంటర్నల్ స్టోరేజ్, when you are saving it, you will also set the permissions, like we have in the scene mode context dot mode underscore private, right? What it does, it will make the it will restrict the file permissions so that it can only be used by that particular application. Okay, there are other ways, other permissions also which you can set. Okay, so whenever you are storing app, whenever you are storing data, app data which you want to be stored very securely, then you will be storing in the internal storage. And for accessing internal storage, you have methods in the context class. What are those methods? Ikkada, if you go to your context class documentation, open file output, okay, and then open file input. Okay, we have open file output when you are trying to write the data, and when you are trying to read the data, you have open file input. Wait, I think it should be somewhere here. Open file input. Okay, you have open file input. See here, yeah, both are here, but somehow in the fields lo vachindi. Okay, open file input and open file output. Open file input will open the file for reading data. It will create a file input stream. Good word. What is that file input stream? It is java.io.file input stream. Okay, it is from the java.io package. Okay, open file output, it will create a file output stream. It will create a file output stream on the file. And when you are looking at open file output, it takes two arguments. One is the name and the other one is the mode. Mode you already know. It will be again in the context class mode underscore private, mode underscore public. Okay, you can see here we can, if you look at the mode underscore append is gone. Okay, mode underscore private. Okay, there are multiple modes with which you can open and which you can set the permissions. Okay, so these are the two arguments which open file input takes. Okay, so first we will see how to use this, and then we will go to the external storage. Okay, so when we before we discuss about these particular methods, let us look at the UI. You have already developed a multiple UIs, so I am just going to give you an overview here. I have two multi-line text edit text, okay, edit text views, and then one single text view into which I am entering the file name, okay, to which I want to save, and then yeah, this particular one I am going to set it as editable, while this particular one I am going to set it as non-editable, non-focusable. Okay, means just it will be there only for the display. Whatever I am entering into this particular multi-line text, I will be trying to save it. Okay, so I have two buttons here. Okay, when I click on this particular save contents, it will save the text. It will save whatever that is that I have typed into this particular multi-line text. When I say retrieve contents, whatever file, whatever data that I have saved, okay, that will be retrieved into this retrieved and will be displayed in this. And the file name from which it will be read, you are going to specify in this particular field. Okay, the file name to which it will be saved or the file name from which you should read will be saved into this particular field. So for this one I gave the name as file name view, this one I gave it as a contents view, and this one I gave it as retrieved contents view. Okay, and yes, for this particular button I gave it as save button, and for this particular button I gave it as retrieve button. And to make this non-editable, okay, and what I did is, if you go to the XML, I have set five parameters as false. Okay, I set clickable false, cursor visible false, focusable false, long clickable false, text is selectable also false. When I set all these particular false, this will become non-editable. Okay, now I also want to set a background. So what I did is, in the drawable folder I created a small file, edit text underscore border.xml. It can be with any name for you, with your when you are creating. Okay, in that I created a simple shape, and that shape is what is the shape I wanted to create? It is a rectangle. Okay, what is the inside color? I created I defined that color. Okay, width of the border I gave it as 2 dp, corner radius I gave it as 4 dp. Okay, and the padding on all the four sides I gave it here. And this particular edit text, so if you go to the view, you can see that it will be shown like this. And this particular border, what I am going to do here, if you go to the this, okay, Android background @drawable / edit text underscore border, I gave that particular XML. So that is the reason why when you go here, you can see the border of the multi-line edit text. Okay, so now let us this is regarding the UI part. Okay, so whatever my objective is, whatever I am entering into this must be saved to the file with the name entered in this particular file name view. Okay, and when I click on retrieve, whatever it should check for the file with the file name given in this file name view, and then retrieve all the contents and show it here, okay. So in this particular retrieved contents view, regarding regarding this we are writing a small code, okay. So what in the main activity I got the references to the means I created 3 variables basically, that is which is this particular CV will point to the contents view, and this particular RCV will point to retrieved contents view, and this one will point to the file name view. You can see here I obtained the references to those particular views using find view by ID. Got it, everyone? Everyone clear till here? And then what I did is I got the references to the 2 buttons, okay, find view by ID and using the find view by ID of button, okay. So save button I got the reference, and retrieve button also I got the reference. After that I am trying to add a click listener, set on click listener. Please keep this method name very clearly in mind. Whenever I want to add a listener to a button, it is set on click listener. The method is set on click listener. Now once we have added the click listener, I need to add functionality to that particular methods, right? What is the functionality that I should add? I should add the functionality to store the data to a local storage, right? So as we have seen earlier, in the context we have methods. In the context we have methods to store the data to local storage, okay, and we have method to retrieve data from local storage. What are those methods? Open, file, output, that is for storing data to local storage, and open file input, that is the data to retrieve retrieve information from a file in local storage. Yes or no? Okay, so that is what we are going to use. First and foremost, I am going to get the data that I want to save, okay, into a value save data, and also the file name FNV will have the file name information. So I don't want a nullable string in that particular one, so fnv.getText.toString, okay. Similarly, save data cv.getText.toString, so that both are not nullable strings. Then after that I am checking if file name is empty. If file name is empty, we have not entered any file name, so I am going to make a small toast that no file name is entered, okay. Similarly, if we go to after that we are checking save data, is there any data to save or not? That is the next thing. So if that particular one is empty, we are making a toast saying no contents to save, okay. If there are contents to save and the file name is entered, okay, then we are going to call the method in the context class. Context is a super class for our app compact activity, correct? So that method will automatically come here, okay. So open file output of the first one is the file name as a string, okay, file name as a string. So we have the file name in the from the file name view, right? So this particular file name I passed as an argument here, okay. And then what is the mode you want to save? I want to, whether you want to append the data or you want to have it as a private file. I am going to add it as a private file. So context dot mode underscore private. I have created the object. Now instead of catching this into a variable and then on that particular variable called dot write, what I am doing, once we have the file output stream created here, on that I am calling the method dot use, okay, dot use. It will automatically call the method in this particular file output stream, okay. Dot use of it, this same object, file output stream object, dot write, okay. What is it that since it is a file output stream, I need to write bytes only. So I need to save this particular string, right? So that particular save data to byte array. I am converting the total string to byte array, and the total byte array I am directly writing to the file output stream. When this particular method is completed, what it will do is automatically, that means this particular use block is completed. Automatically what Android does is it closes the file and flushes the data into file and closes the file output stream. Okay. So data will be stored into the file output stream, and when reading the data, what we are going to do, we are going to open the file. You see, these checks are already there. So what I am going to do, first I am going to read the file name here, and I am going to check whether the file name is there or not. So for that I need to create a java.io.file object. So for creating a java.io.file object, I need two arguments. One is the folder location followed by the file name. Okay. So to know where exactly that particular file is being saved, we are saving it to the internal internal storage space, right? So we have a argument called as files dir. This particular argument comes from the context wrapper, which is again one of the superclass of your app compact activity. Okay. So if you go to that particular context wrapper class, somehow it is not showing here, right? Well, let's see here. Okay, it is in context class only. Sorry, not context wrapper. Okay, so let us go to the context class. Here, let us check for files dir. I don't know. If you look here, if you take on to this, okay, in the documentation you should see where exactly it is there. Okay, the files dir, well, wait. Yeah, you can see here in the documentation specified by get files dir in context. Okay, you should see this particular documentation here. Okay, get files dir in the context class. Okay, it is showing here, but I am not able to check in API document, get in API documentation. So this particular field is there in the context class. This one we are going to use it directly. Okay, and this one will point to the internal storage space. Okay, there is another way where we can point out, but the way in which it will be referred to will be a little different. So it will point to the same location, it will be different, so we will not be using that. That we will see a little later. Okay, so get files dir will point to the internal storage space. Okay, and so files dir, we are creating a file object here, and then once we have the file object io.java.io.file, in that particular file object we have a method called as exists. We have is file, is directory, exists, etc. Okay, so if f1.exists, okay, that is whether if the file exists, then what we are going to do, we are going to open the file for input, open file input, and give the file name. When we give the file name, open file for input, it creates a file input stream which helps in reading bytes, but we want to read the string, right? So we will be creating a buffered reader on that particular file input stream. So open file input of file name dot buffered reader. Okay, now we have a buffered reader on this particular file input stream, and then on that say dot use, okay, it dot read text. it will read the complete text in the file. Once the use block is completed, it will automatically close the file. And whatever I have read from this, I will be capturing it into a variable called as file content. Okay, and I just want to see where is the internal storage. Okay, so I am creating a logcat entry with the tag file storage log. File is stored to, or let us say file is stored in, okay, files dir, $files dir. It will print you the internal storage path. You will see that particular one. Okay, we will see that particular one. rcv.setText of retrieved file content dot setText of this particular file content, whatever we got here. Okay, and if the file does not exist, we will just make a toast that the file is not. Okay, that is what is the are the two functions here. So we are going to say save contents to app storage, read contents from app storage. I am going to uncomment this. What we will do is we will let me start the emulator. I started running. Previously I created, this was from the previous demo in the class. So the same thing, we are entering data here, we are saving it, but this one is with SAF, which we will be discussing a little later. Okay, as we proceed with the discussion. So okay, I have the app installed here. So here you can observe, I am going to say give the file name without any spaces. I will say add some data. Okay, and then I will say click on save contents. In save contents, we did not make any logcat window message. Okay, but when we are opening the output file, it will make a logcat window, log in the logcat window with the file location, right? So retrieve contents, you got the same contents here definitely. Okay, but if you see here the location, okay, you should be able to see the location here. It is com.exam, it is in the folder user/0/com.example.file reading application /files. Okay, file reading application /files. So com.example.file reading application, if you go here, that is our package name, right? In that there is one folder files, that is your internal storage. Any folder external other than this particular folder is external storage. Got it, everyone? So, and also we have understood how we are dealing with the internal storage. We are dealing in the internal storage, you save using two functions. Save and read using two functions that are available in the context class. Open file input and open file output. These two store the files and retrieve the files from the internal storage. Okay. Now let us start looking at the external storage. Think of it something like this. We have many applications using which you can download, for example, Telegram or WhatsApp. Okay, you get some photos, image, right, in your WhatsApp. Yes or no? GIFs you get in WhatsApp. All those, where will they be saved? They will be going into your photos location. Is photos local to the WhatsApp application? No. Photos is external to the WhatsApp application, but you are able to store the photos specifically to this particular photos folder, right? So there are some predefined locations which you will be able to access, which are external to the app, not just some predefined. Any folder you can access, but there are some predefined constant locations, okay, or predefined values or locations defined as a constants in your Android. Okay, if you go to the environment class in your Android API, okay, here you can see here fields, public static string, directory underscore alarms, directory underscore audiobooks, directory underscore DCIM, this is the camera, okay. Whenever you take pictures, you will be seeing that they will be stored into DCIM folder, okay. Then directory underscore documents, okay, directory underscore downloads, right, directory underscore movies, directory underscore music. These are some predefined locations, okay, as a string values. You can directly access these particular folders and save your data to that. Like for example, WhatsApp, movies, if it is a movie, it will go to the movies folder, okay. If it is a images, okay, it will go to photos folder, right? Yes or no? Okay. The same way here, you can directly access these external folders, okay. And for accessing this, you need not use any file selector dialog. You need not have any file selector dialog. If you know the type of file that you are downloading and you want to place it into some particular folder based on that particular file type, you can use these particular constants to obtain the folder location and directly save into that particular folder location. Got it? Okay. So how to use this is our next topic. Okay. So if you go to our program, okay, so save contents to app store, we will be going to the next external storage. Here I have defined two functions, save content to external storage and save contents to internal storage. Sorry, open contents from external storage. Okay. So here if you observe, okay, I want to first define the whenever I want to save the file, I need to create a folder. I need to create a file object, and to that particular file object I will be writing the data. Okay. So for creating a file object, we need to have the directory, okay, to which I want to in which that particular file is there, and also the file name. Okay. So if you have only those, if you have those two parameters, you will be able to create a file object using which you can save and also retrieve the file, right? Retrieve the information from the file. So for that particular purpose, I am going to first create a small variable FLDR folder, okay, in addition to retrieving the contents that are to be saved and also the file name, okay. And this particular folder, into this I am going to have the path in which the file is there. That path can be a predefined path or it can be internal storage also. So see here, get external files directory. So if you just hover to this, okay, you will find the class in which it is there. Well, yeah, it is there in the context class. Get external files dir. Okay, to this particular external files dir, if I pass null, okay, if I pass null, it will directly point you to the internal storage. It will directly point you to the internal storage. But if I am going to pass, instead of null, if I am going to pass a something like a constant environment.directory underscore downloads, it will point you to downloads folder. Or if it is a directory underscore recordings folder, directory underscore documents folder, like that. Okay. So the other way around to get this folder is in the environment. There is a method called as get public storage directory. Okay. get external storage public directory. Using this again you can get the same thing. Okay, we will see this a little later. Okay, so first let us do one thing. Let us store to the local file, that is the internal storage, by passing null to the get external storage directory. Okay, so where I am going to get a folder. Okay, once I get the folder here, what I am going to do is here see, I am going to check if the file name is so yeah. So we are going to create a file object. Okay, ఇక్కడ మనం ఫోల్డర్ అనేది క్రియేట్ చేసాం కదమ్మా, గెట్ ఎక్స్టర్నల్ స్టోరేజ్ గెట్ ఎక్స్టర్నల్ ఫైల్స్ డైరెక్టరీ ఆఫ్ నల్ అని చెప్పేసి we created a folder. That particular folder I am going to pass it here, and then the file name. Okay, I am going to create a file, and then just simply call file.writeText of the string that you want to write. Okay, automatically it will write the total string. Okay, file.writeText of save data. Okay, close. Okay, there you have completed your saving the data. And for reading data, everything will almost be the same. We will be first getting the external, but yes, when we are trying to read the data, keep in mind you are using the same known location. You are using the known location here. So previously I am saving it to the internal storage by passing null. So I am doing the same here. If you can observe. Okay, so folder is equal to get external storage, get external files directory null. Okay, I am going to pass this pass null here, and then what I did is once I have passed null, we are going to create a file object. You can see here file. If the file is existing, I want to read the contents, right? Just that particular file dot read text. File dot read text. It will read the total contents in the file. We are doing it with the simple file java.io.file object. Okay, we read the file and set the contents to your retrieved contents view. Okay, so like that we will be reading the contents and also writing the contents. Got it? So we will see this in action. We will reload the app. But this time what we will be seeing exactly is what is the location. How the location is referred to in both the cases. The difference you will observe here. So it has installed, but yeah, somehow it is not relaunching. Okay. Here you can observe /data/user/0, then followed by the package name and the files. Okay. Now I am going to re-enter some file 1. Okay, I will type something 4. Okay, save contents, and then retrieve contents. Okay, it is with the same one. Yeah, now it reinstalled. Somehow it took some few attempts. Some file 1. Okay, I am going to type some data. Okay, and then I am going to say save contents. Okay, and then I am going to say retrieve contents. Okay, I think I did not change the functionality in the set on click listener. Yeah, so I need to comment this out, and I need to uncomment this. I need to comment this out, and I need to uncomment this. Right. External storage. Now it is installing. launching, right. So file 1, okay, save contents, and then say read contents. See here, both are being stored to the internal storage only. Okay, ఎక్కడికి వెళ్తున్నాయి? com.example.file reading application /files. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ కూడా com.example.file reading application /files. But when you are referring to this folder using files dir, okay, and get external files dir, okay, you can see the difference in the way that you are dealing with it. It is /storage /emulated /0/android/data, okay, but here it is simply data /user/0. Okay, got it? The way with which this particular folder is being referred to will be different in both the cases. But in your mobile, if you go to your mobile and install it, you should find the same thing. This is emulator, right? So you will find that particular difference. Got it, everyone? So here you can see that the default location when you do not pass any string will be the internal storage. Now I want to save the file to downloads. I want to save the file to download. So what I will do is, in my function get external storage, I have this particular function, okay, right? I'll just say environment.directory_downloads, okay, and I will copy this line. I'll just say comment the previous line. I'm going to contain it just for your reference, okay, and I will comment this out. Okay, now I will reload it. Directory environment/directory_downloads. Okay, in the get external files dir, that is a variable that I am passing. Yeah, now it is opened. I will say some files 1. I will enter some data. Okay, some data, and I will say save contents. Let us look at the logcat window. It is going into the same but downloads. Okay, so this is into the internal storage down. It is going into the internal storage downloads. It should actually go into external storage downloads, and then yeah, okay, no problem. And I will say open. It is opening from the same location, but I want to save it to the external location. So what I will do, I will use get external storage public directory, environment.get external storage public directory. Okay, that particular method I will use. Okay, and then what I will do is, in both the cases I am going to do the same directory_downloads. Okay, it will directly go to the downloads folder. This time you can just check it. Okay, I am going to reload. Okay, yes, it opened. I will say some files 1. Okay, now I will say save data. So if you look at here, storage emulated 0 download. Storage emulated 0 download. And now retrieve contents. I am again reading from the same location. Here I am going to specify the standard locations. It can be environment.directory_downloads or directory_documents, and I am going to hard code the path. Meaning, supposing that I am downloading a image, I can use directory underscore images, movies directory underscore movies, like that. I am going to use a specified path operative. Okay. So we have seen till now using specified paths. Okay. So like when you are developing a communicator, if you get an image, you should go to photos. Those kinds of rules are there. For that, you can just simply use environment.getExternal storage, public storage directory, and then get that particular photos directory path, and then store it to create a folder in that by default, and then add it to there. Okay. Similarly, the movies. Okay. So, but if at all, it is like a మా ఫోన్ ఇంకోసారి బయటకు వస్తే మాత్రం నేను తీసేసుకుంటాను చెప్పి అర్థమైందా ఓకే but if you want to say like you are downloading some specific documents from a, let us say you are operating a cloud storage application, okay, and like or even let us say a WhatsApp communicator, okay, some PDFs or other things will come. You will open them and you want to store them to a particular location. By default they will go to downloads, but you want to store them to a particular location. At that time you want the file storage file selector dialog to open. Okay, when you are wanting the file selector dialog to open, okay, you use what is called as storage access framework. Okay, so we call it as SAF. Okay, we call it as a SAF. Okay, so storage access framework, in storage access framework we operate without we do not use any file streams, rather we use something like content providers. We launch the inbuilt file selector of the Android, okay, by launching it through intents, by launching it through an intent. So what kind of intent can we use? Implicit or explicit? Which intent? Implicit intent, because we are launching a third party application. Okay, we will launch an activity which is basically a file selector dialog. Okay, and then we will once that particular intent has we have launched the activity, once we select the file or saving location, okay, we will get the intent with which we have launched and also the data from which we will get a URI. Okay, on that URI we create the input stream or output stream depending upon whether you have created the file to read or write. Okay, and then to that one you will be writing the data or reading the data. Okay, so that is what is the process. Okay, so what we are going to do here is, see, just everything as previous only. Okay, we are checking for example when you say save content using SAF, we are checking if the file name field is empty and the save data field is empty. Okay, once you have all those completely filled, then I am defining an intent, implicit intent. I am defining an implicit intent. The action string for saving is action underscore create underscore document. Intent dot action underscore create underscore document. And if I want to read, action underscore open underscore document. Okay, this will trigger the file selector dialog either in the save mode or open mode. If you say action underscore create underscore document, it will create a save dialog. Action underscore open underscore document, it will create a open file dialog. Okay, and then apply what is the category we are able to open, intent dot category underscore openable, and then type, what is the type of file? It is text slash plain. Okay, we are writing a plain text. Then once you have defined the intent, you have to start the activity. When starting the activity, okay, we will give it a the activity we will give it a request code also. The request code is arbitrary, you can give your own code, okay. That request code will generally start from 100, okay. I have defined two request codes here as a public variables, okay, as a instance variables, like request code underscore save underscore file is 100, for saving file it is 100, and for opening file it is 101, okay. Why? We will see a little later, okay. So here when I am creating activity, we have seen start activity only previously. We will see now start activity for result, okay. We are opening the intent activity, we are creating the implicit intent so that we need to get some result, we need to get data from that particular activity, right? Whatever we have opened, whatever third party activity which we have opened, we need to interact with it, or whatever we have done on that, we need to get it as a result, okay. So start activity for result, and then the intent that you have created, intent object that you have created, and also the request code, okay. What happens is when you this will launch the activity, and when you close that particular, when you complete interacting with that particular third party application, okay, app, it will close, and immediately it will call on activity result function. On activity result, there is a function that is inbuilt that will be called, okay. So whatever functionality that we need to have after the opening of save dialog, okay, that we need to define in this particular on activity, okay. This will take three arguments. One is the request code, okay, whatever we have passed earlier. See, we have passed 100 there, right? That will come as an argument here. And the result code, what is the result of the open dialog or save dialog, okay, whether have you selected or have you just simply cancelled it, okay, that one. And then the intent with which you have launched, okay, that one will once you close it, that particular activity will again trigger an intent, okay. That intent you are capturing, okay. The activity you have launched with a particular intent, right? So this activity will result in another intent, that one will be sent here, okay. So what we are overriding the on activity result, so we will be calling this super dot on activity, that is so that whatever that is there previously will be obtained here also, okay. After that we are checking here, are we calling the open dialog or closed dialog, okay. So request code, if the request code is double equal to request code and request underscore code underscore save file, and request code result code is activity underscore result activity dot result underscore okay, okay. If these two are true, that means if you are opening a save dialog, okay, and you have selected a file to save, okay, then what it will do, it in the intent that you have, from the intent that you got here, after closing that particular file dialog, it will trigger an intent, as I said, okay. That one you will be sent here, okay. That data dot, in that one there will be another field data, okay. In that you have a field called as URI, okay. It will give a URL directly pointing to the file you have selected, okay. So on that particular URI, what you are going to do is, you are going to create it is something like a content provider, okay. On that one you are going to create an output stream, content resolver dot output stream. You can observe here, content resolver dot output stream of this particular URI dot write of save data to byte array, okay. You are directly writing the complete byte array. This is not a file output stream basically, okay, but it will help you in writing to that particular file, okay. So again, why are we using a try catch block? That you may have some permission issues, okay, or the URI may not be found a little later, okay. That kind of exceptions may come, so you are going to use a try catch block. If there is any exception that comes, you are going to give that exception to your logcat window, and for printing the logcat exception we use log.e, not log.d. Okay, it will be the tag, the format is almost the same. Okay, the tag for the log, and then the message of the message you want to print, followed by the exception e, meaning you are printing the total stack trace of that particular exception. Okay. Similarly, if you want to open, is the request code dot open file. Okay, request code, if the request code is open file, everything is the same, but rather instead of creating an output stream on the URI, you will be creating a input stream, and on the input stream you will be creating a buffered reader, and on the buffered reader you will be using read text, and you will be getting the total string, and that particular total string you will be setting it to your retrieved context. Got it? Everyone? Everything is the same. The only thing is you are going to launch a file selector dialog in either in save mode or open mode. Okay? Right? And if you are opening it in the save mode, you are going to give it one request code, and if you are opening it in the open mode, you are going to give it one request code. Okay? And then you are going to call start activity for result. Start activity for result, what it does after completion of activity, will call on activity result. In that you will check what is the request code that resulted in calling of that particular function. Is the activity successfully completed? If both are good, then we will get the URI, and then you will do the necessary action of saving or writing the data. Got it? Right? So these two functions, what I am going to do is, I am going to enable these two functionalities here. See, open contents using SJF and save contents using SJF. I am going to relaunch it. Now I will give some name here. This is not that significant. Some name. I will give say contents. Okay, and then I will just say save contents. Immediately you can see a file selector dialog opened. Okay, the file selector dialog ikkada kinda entama meer observe chese it is as save. Correct? Now you can select the folder into which you want to do it, you want to save. Okay, suppose like music, I want to say m1.txt. The music I want to save, and click on save, automatically it is saved there. Okay, now I want to open retrieve contents. Okay, I can select this. I want to open a different file. Well, in the recordings previously, yeah, here if you observe there are two files. I want to open this one. I am able to open. I am able to select any file and I am able to open that particular text. Okay, so this is the way you can select and save files. Okay, you can use a file selector to open and save files from various locations. Okay, now there is another way which is basically using media store, and that is your seminar topic. Got it, everyone? So is you can just